How can you find out if someone else has the same artist name as you? This is a big thing I've talked about a lot in other videos in terms of changing your artist name on DistroKid. For example, why you shouldn't have another artist name with someone else. And one question I have gotten is, well, Mark, I am getting ready to release my first song. How do I know, though, if someone has the same exact artist name as me? Now, I'm going to give you both a short and a long answer. Short answer, it actually is trickier than you think. So let's get to the longer answer, right? And I want to give this could be a very, very long video, right? In terms of all these quote unquote techniques of figuring out if someone has the same artist name as you. Here's the big thing, right? Here's the big kicker. I find that when it comes to releasing music, there are a bunch of different ways to do it, right? You're looking at YouTube, SoundCloud, Bandcamp. However, I look at those as different, services, so to speak. However, if you look at, say, CD Baby, TuneCore, Ditto, DistroKid, all these different independent music distributors, they all distribute to all these different stores, right? Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon. So in my mind, I look at that as one big cluster of services that independent music distributors distribute to. And I find the biggest complications that arise with having the same artist name as somebody else is in this sector. If, let's say, someone has the same artist name as you on SoundCloud, kind of annoying, not the end of the world. Same thing with YouTube, not the end of the world. Of course, though, you want to make sure your artist name is unique. So why do I mention that? The reason why I mention that is the biggest things to make sure above anything that when it comes to releasing music, when you release it through a distributor, you know that there's no one else with the same artist name as you. And the best way to do this, one, Google. Make sure you just maybe Google that artist name itself and see if anything pops up. I'm just using this as an example. Let's say you want to release music under Joe Schmo. Of course, I bet there's probably, a million Joe Schmoes out there. Type in maybe Joe Schmo Music or Joe Schmo Song, Joe Schmo Tracks, Joe Schmo Discography, etc., etc. That way you can try to figure out, has anyone released music under the artist name you want to release under? The next thing, of course, is go to YouTube. Search on YouTube. A lot of musicians might not have their music on Google in terms of the SEO, but on YouTube, it's probably more accessible, so to speak. Another thing is when you release music under distributors, I gotta be honest, I only use DistroKid. So this is something I know with DistroKid. I'm not sure about other ones. But on DistroKid, for example, when you type in that artist name for the first time, you're getting ready to release your first ever track, album, EP, whatever, DistroKid will automatically scan Spotify, Apple Music, I think Instagram now too, and they'll say, hey, we noticed there's other artist names out there. We noticed that there's other Joe Schmoes out there. Do you want to add your release to this Joe Schmo? Or do you want us to create a new Joe Schmo account? If you see this, completely change your artist name. Because what they're saying is, hey, this artist name that you have, there's actually other accounts out there. And if, let's say, you want to release your music, do you want to release it under these accounts that are already existing? Which, of course, you don't, unless there's some complication with you and blah, blah, blah. But beyond the scope of this video, that's probably not necessary. So in that case, if you see other artist accounts saying, hey, are you this Joe Schmo or this Joe Schmo? Either way, even if though, yes, you can create a new Joe Schmo account or a new Joe Schmo account on Spotify or Apple Music, that still means you're now copying or having the same artist name as someone else. This is something you do not want to do. So a big thing I suggest to a lot of musicians, and I've said this before in other videos, but I do have to stress it. If you do want to change your artist name, it is going to be unbelievably complicated. You are way better off before you release. If you have to spend a week or a month thinking about your artist name and making sure and doing some research, like I said, on Google, YouTube, and through your distributor, make sure you do not have the same artist name as anybody else. It is worth waiting to release, and I know you might be excited, but it's worth waiting just to make sure. Because like I've mentioned in other videos, and I'm not really going to go too in depth about this, but overall, if you release music and someone else has the same artist name as you, you're going to have a bad time and it's not going to be good. So make sure, especially as you're watching this video and you're getting ready, do a bunch of research. And like I said too, talking before about SoundCloud and let's say Bandcamp, again, I got to be blunt, and this is very important to understand that different services have different ways they deal with different artist names, or two artists having the same name. It can get kind of tricky, but on Bandcamp, I don't think it's as big of a deal because whatever. I think on SoundCloud, you definitely want to have a different artist name, but it's not as big of a deal. But the second you start releasing music through a distributor, the second you put it on DistroKid or CD Baby or whatever, the second you start kind of going down that route, because what they do, if you think about it, they take your release and they send it to sometimes hundreds of different stores. Each store individually might deal with that differently, and in a sense, in a way, it's out of your control.